guest, Mr. Raman Nanda, is here with us. So I'll request our Rotarian Ganesh to please introduce him.
Sure. Thank you, Rakesh, and good morning to everybody. Let me start with a very different kind of introduction, which of course I warned Raman about, because as many of you know, I grew up in a little village in Jharkhand. It's called Tatisilva near Ranchi, and my father's factory was a factory called Waxpol, and just next to that was a big factory called Usha Martin Industries, Usha Martin Black wire ropes. And I met Raman for the first time. It was amazing to find that he actually started working in that factory in Usha Martin. So as they say in America, Raman is my brother from a different mother. So we have almost the same backgrounds, because he's kind of, after that, of course, worked for large companies, including the Tata Group. And of course, he was the president of a very significant multinational in India. And since then, of course, he beats me in Rotary, because Rotary I joined only because of Mukesh Malhotra's persuasion. And that's a few years ago. But Raman has been an active Rotarian for 20 years. And today is a very sought after coach. So in fact, he is a very active part of university. He's part of the TIE Charter Members Group along with me and Zelam. So I think there are multiple facets of his life that we can only begin to unpeel as we go on. So that's why I said very similar to what I do and very aspirational to be like Raman. So we are really delighted, Raman, that you're here today. And as I was saying just when we started, I think there are 2 sessions in the next 10 days where we can demystify what to do with our lives. One is a conversation I'm having with Ravi Venkatesh, courtesy Rohit. That's next week, which is on his book saying, what the heck do I do with my life? And Raman is actually going to answer the question before we ask them. So all over to you, Raman.
Thank you, Ganesh. President Rakesh, Honorary Secretary Kiran, Program Chair Sanjay, Rotarians, spouses, guests, and friends. A very good morning to all of you. In December 2019, I was a corporate executive flying all over the world. Some would say it was a glamorous job, but something was missing. In Feb, and today is a very special day, 2/2/22, you know. So on 2/2/22, I'm sitting or standing in front of you. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, a family business advisor, and you know, I'm absolutely enjoying life as an entrepreneur. And a good part of it is thanks to TIE and with leaders like Ganesh, who are who have built up TIE in a way that it's unparalleled. So I meet new people every day. I take up new courses to learn every few months. I learn and do new things, whether it's, I recently taught a course at Flame University. I had an ambition to be a professor one day. So at least for 3 months, I was a visiting professor at Flame University. And I also enjoy making people more successful and happier. Of course, I make some money, but I can slot time for my health, relationships, playing table tennis in the morning at Pune Club 3-4 days a week, organizing class reunions. I mean, we had a 40-year reunion with 97 out of 130 people attending after 40 years.
Oh.
So at Goa and so on. And many of these things give me more joy and meaning, in my life than simply earning money. So my intention today is to, take each of us a little forward in a journey of personal mastery. But before I start on that, so let me ask anyone who would like to help me define or share your definition of personal mastery. What is personal mastery to you? Anyone?
Contentment within.
Say again, sir.
Contentment within.
Contentment within. Fantastic. Very good. Anyone else? What else is personal mastery?
No, for me,
being successful. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, no. I mean, I was going to say the same thing, saying that, look, whatever you choose to do, be the best you can be. Now, there's no point in compromising on anything. So today I'm having a miserable time with my golf, and I know it'll take me 2 more years. But it's that junoon ki karna hai. So I think that's very important to feel that you're doing the best you can.
Anyone else?
What you love
Okay.
to do and excel in it.
Yes.
I mean, whatever Ganesh has said.
Something like what Ikigai, the Japanese concept is. Yeah. Very good, Jalam. Very nice. So, you meet some people, who are almost like Zen masters, very sorted. They know what they are doing, why they are doing. And, they have the same issues in life as we have. And there are some other people who are constantly, chasing shadows. And I'm one of them, for a long time in my life. So I have no shame in admitting that. So no, that's the difference. That are you a sorted person, contentment within, so I've been thinking about this subject and trying to learn or put together my life lessons. जिसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में, मार खा खा के सीखे हैं, right from my Usha Martin days to Tata Group and, working in an MNC and so on. So today's topic is how to lead a truly meaningful life. And for me, I want to say that, it's for me a rich life. And, for me, one of the role models here is Ganesh. You excel professionally, you excel on the giving front, you excel in your relationships, you have enough money in the bank and no worry on that front. You keep trying new things, maybe golf. As Ganesh, I see lots of pictures of Ganesh with golf these days, on the golf course.
You mentioned Ganesh and golf in 1-2 sentences together. Money, Ganesh and golf. Money in the bank and Ganesh and golf. Wow.
Thank you. So I'm saying this is, for me, a really meaningful life where you are complete on multiple dimensions, which are important. So I look at 6 major dimensions in life. The first is the professional, business, career, whatever you call it. The second is very, very key, relationships. And this is on 3 different dimensions, at work, in the family, and with friends. And all of them have many, nuances and angles to them. The third is the emotional quotient. The fourth is finance. You need to have money. Without money, nothing happens. Health and wellness. If you're not looking after your body, you're going to be in trouble, and you'll put your own family also in trouble. And finally, the spiritual quotient. So for me, these are the 6 major dimensions. Of course, you can always add more dimensions in your life. So the point is, you may have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the health to enjoy it, it's useless. Or if you're the richest person in the world, but you don't have relationships, what are you going to do? You go to the loneliest person, and they say worldwide loneliness is the biggest killer. So just to give you these examples to say that, and again, you may have everything else, but still when you're feeling a void, for me, that is part of the journey of spirituality, Then you look at, connection with yourself and many other aspects, which I will cover in the talk. So I would say this is really an existential issue, and all of us keep searching for the answers. I am also still searching for answers. I have some answers, which I will share. And, many of them are within and some are without, but mostly they are within. And I agree with Bharat, when he said about contentment within. Okay, so with that background, please keep putting your questions in the chat during the meeting, and feel free to throw all your questions at me. So let me start. Is the screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so once again, thank you to your very, very prestigious club for giving me a chance to speak with all of you. So I'd like to start with a picture, and for me, this is one of, the most prized possessions. When Kalyanda felicitated me as a representative of my company for doing some CSR work, we were the first CSR donor in India when the scheme started, thanks to my colleague Rakesh Bhargav from RCPC. So let's quickly look at what I want to cover today. So I want to cover some timeless principles, and all of this is from my life, for what works for me. And for each one of us, you may have to tweak them, change them, or whatever. The second is the mantras for the 6 major areas I said. Without implementation, there's nothing. And without Q&A, I think you won't get the satisfaction. So this is the agenda for today. So I'll start with, first, I ask all of you to rate yourself and take a very slow and intense two-dimensional look at this slide. So you have, let's say, what they call as a spider diagram. Many people will be familiar. So on a 0 to 10 scale, rate yourself on your own scale. That means there's no prescribed scale. On the professional, financial, health and wellness, relationships, emotional intelligence, and your spiritual quotient, rate yourself. And then this gives you an idea in terms of your own life, what gives you meaning, and on those parameters, where you are today. So this is just a start to make you think, and I can share this format. It's a simple thing I can mail or WhatsApp to any one of you. So with that, I start with what I would say some timeless principles which work for me. The first thing is, a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Many of us think, मैं तो यही हूँ. This is what I am. Take it or leave it. And there are many who are always open to possibilities, some new things, some new food to try, some new locations, some new habits, some new hobby, etc., etc. Growth comes when you have a growth mindset versus having a fixed mindset. So I believe strongly this is the foundation. Without that, you can't really move much, because then you are kind of decaying as a human being. So this is a very interesting thing. I'm a member of a Harvard Institute of Coaching, and we have a meeting every couple of twice a week actually. So this is what I picked up there is, hold your values tightly, but hold your beliefs lightly. So this is what I mean, that your beliefs are what hold you back very often. So hold them lightly. Beliefs includes assumptions, stereotypes, prejudices, and so on. मैं ये नहीं कर सकता हूँ. This is what I believe. Or all South Indians are very intelligent. Or all, North Indians are like this. Or all Maharashtrians. Or all people from some religion, sect, whatever. So we have some beliefs on multiple levels. Hold them lightly. That's what helps you. If you have a growth mindset and you hold your beliefs lightly, then let's say progress starts. And for progress, I think there is no other option but for us to look at our why, at our purpose, at our goals. It's not easy. Some people I have spoken on this subject for nearly, last year and a half at 20 clubs all over the country. So, one club, somebody asked me, he said, I'm 70 years old. What goals do you want me to, set for myself now? So I said, simple. You can have goals for your health. You can have a number of steps, or you can have your, blood pressure details, or you can have time you want to spend with your grandchildren, slot it out. So it's possible to have goals at any time in your life. But more important than that is the purpose and your why. So it has taken me nearly a few years to write my why. So I would urge each one of us to make an effort. And if anyone wants help, I am there to help them offline, not an issue. Coming to me time, I think the biggest problem with mankind, they say, is that human beings are not able to sit alone in a constructive way. So I want for myself at least 3 to 4 hours a week of me time, where I reflect on what's going right, what's going wrong, what I can do different, do I have a plan for this year, and so on and so forth. So self-reflection and me time, maybe 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes at night when you get up and before you go to sleep, how was the day? Just reflect. Sometime during the day, you get time, half an hour after lunch or whatever. So me time slotting is really important. I am a great believer in notes. Whatever significant is happening in my life every day, I like to make a note, whether it's at work or on a personal front. It's really important. And seeing through the notes is, in a way, you can do self-coaching, because your notes will tell you as to what you have been feeling. You can call it a journal or whatever. And on your work front, those notes, which may be 1, 2, 5, 10 years old, can again be a minefield of information which can help you in whatever you're doing. So I like to keep notes, and that's what I'm trying to say here. There's a very nice saying, which is that consistency beats intensity. And the example I like to give is, simply, brushing your teeth. You can say, hey, who's going to spend those 5-10 minutes a day? I'll go to a dentist once in a quarter and manage it. And obviously the answer is that it still won't be effective, because the consistency of brushing every day gives a different result than an intensive, half an hour or 1 hour, which is also not so pleasant session with your dentist. So for me, life is a marathon, and actually it's a series of marathons on different dimensions. So one may be on health front, one may be on relationships, another may be on the money front, and so on. So I think consistency is something that I strive for. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. This is a Japanese word, gemba. Many of you may know it, which is go to the spot. Often we are sitting, taking decisions on issues without talking to the people, on issues without going to the shop floor where it's happening, or going to the sales counter. If you have a retail business and you're not visiting the sales counter and seeing what's happening, as they say, go and smell the coffee, or as the Japanese say, gemba. So this is a very simple and timeless principle for me. I really believe that no growth happens if you're not ready for difficult conversations. It's all very easy to brush things under the carpet, but the bad becomes ugly, and the ugly becomes unmanageable, and the unmanageable can become a court case or whatever. So have difficult conversations as soon as possible, of course, keeping dignity of the people in mind. But a difficult conversation is the only way, by and large, to get growth. Without that, you may not achieve growth. In preparation, I would say for everything, whether for me it's today's talk, trying to send you a 1-minute video before that so that you know what you are coming for. Or in Tata Group, we once got a chance to present to General Motors Head of Purchasing Worldwide. So it took 4 months for me to prepare for a 10-minute presentation to the Head of Purchasing. And that guy is buying, Bo Anderson, he's buying $135 billion of stuff. And 8 slides, 9 minutes after 1 minute of introduction was all I had. But luckily, because the preparation was strong, it hit the bullseye. And he said, okay, Raman, I think you guys are saying something interesting. Let's start with $100 million, For us as a new company, $100 million was a lot of money, a lot of business. But I'm just saying preparation. This is something we often forget. We like to think we are smart and we can enter into a meeting unprepared. I think that doesn't work. Okay, now let me come to the 6 perspectives. These were the timeless principles across all perspectives. So on the professional perspective, carrying on with the notes, I like to keep really important notes of what I have to do, what others have committed, and what I have committed, and a to-do list. Now, to-do list is not a simple to-do list. For me, a to-do list is a real to-do list when there are at least 3-4 items every day in it which take me towards meeting my goals. It's not just filling up my 24 hours of time. It is helping me take me towards my goals. So make sure your to-do list has items which are taking you forward. That's really important. Otherwise, it's like, just spending your time. Many entrepreneurs meet me and, in startups as part of TIE and so on, they say, look, the sales ka kaam hum nahi kar sakte, wo to marketing wala karega, marketing and sales karega. I believe each of us at every moment in our life, we are selling. Right now, I'm selling Raman Nanda to you. I'm selling RCPC to you. I'm selling this concept to you. Each of us, when we have a conversation with a supplier or with a buyer or with our children, we are selling something or the other. So if you are not prepared to sell, you have a problem. So I would say learn how to sell, and it will help you big time. In corporate life and elsewhere, and even in personal life, we have option to spend our time in many ways. For example, somebody wrote me a stupid mail. I can get provoked and write another mail, and another mail will come, and so on and so forth. Or I can say, hey, I just ignored it. I spend my time on issues where I can make a difference and not waste my time on issues where I cannot make a difference. I may reply that mail 10 times in a much better and a better way every time, but will it have any impact on what my goals or what I want to achieve? So focus on where you can make a difference. This is one thing which most leaders fail on. They don't take feedback. And if they take feedback, they don't take it positively. I took feedback for the first time in my life from my family 20 years back. At work, let's say the office used to manage 360-degree and so on. And then, I got really devastating feedback from my son, daughter, and my wife. You think you're a great Tata executive and so on, but you're not spending enough time on this, that, and so on. So I was really devastated. I said, look, I'm ready working day and night, traveling 20 days a month and, working hard and so on to look after the family. But, that feedback helped me course correct big time. So I would urge all of us, take feedback and try to take it positively, take action on it. This is what is really important. This goes without saying, leaders are readers, and especially you must read on unconnected subjects a lot, because connected subjects is good, but unconnected subjects give you the breadth of vision, breadth of understanding, which you can bring on to whatever you're trying to do. So in an organization with a team, spending time on building a shared purpose is very important. Or in a family as well, having a shared purpose, seeing that all are aligned, it's important for a leader to spend time on this and make sure it happens. Team IQ for me means that it is a individual IQ of 140, 150, a team of say 11 people, say in football, but they're not able to score a goal because each is a superstar. So what matters is your team IQ. Is that 60, 70 or is that 140, 150? Work on ensuring that your team IQ is delivering. Write it down in the professional side is very important. Often as leaders, we take quick decisions. Maybe we are on the way home for lunch or something else and somebody comes and says, I think we are planning to do this. Is that okay with you? Looks okay. Yeah, okay, it's fine, and so on. Now that may be a significant proposal. So I insist that if anything significant requires a decision, write it down, the pros and the cons, because that itself will give you much better clarity rather than simply, debating it orally and saying, oh yeah, okay, let's go ahead with it. We are a company which moves fast. Yeah, sure, you can move fast, but on significant issues, I say, write it down. Let me have a sip of warm water. One of the most important things where all of us, including me, make many mistakes is the relationships part. So let's start with relationships at work. So first simple principle is be helpful. If you never know when you will need help, and I've seen in my life some obscure interaction with someone 20, 30 years back comes back and pays you 100 times over. Now I didn't do that at that time with the intention, but it happens. So be helpful. Often, we think, we are writing or saying something which is, no one will hear, but I think we all know walls have ears. And something similar is, triangulation, A talking to B about C. Not about A, not about B, but about C. So you can call it gossip or triangulation. I think it can lead to strangulation at times. Coming to family, there's some points here, which is just like you slot time for work, slot time for the family. Slot time for whatever your children, grandchildren, brother, sister, mom, dad, they want. Slot time, it helps. I can say for me, it was very useful once I figured out that I was not doing enough on that front. Find common activities. It could be, playing rummy, bridge, walking, going out, holidays. There are 10 different things, but find common activities because that's the base for knowing each other and maintaining a relationship with each other. So this is an interesting slide where I say, when you are at work, follow the principle of capitalism, but when you are at home, follow the principle of communism, even though it may not be very much liked philosophy, but for me, it means you treat all your children equal. You treat, all your brothers and sisters equally. So don't do partiality when dealing with your children and so on. So try to follow communism to the extent that you can. Coming to friends, I have made a mathematical depiction of how, as far as possible, I'd like to have my friend circle. So for me, one axis is values, another axis is achievement orientation. So green is where the sweet spot is. So I like to have friends who have a value system, a strong value system, and also a strong achievement orientation. So this is the way I look at it, and I encourage my children and others who want to learn about it to follow it. It's for you to think on this and do what you want to do. Diversity is so important. I think many of us are in the birds of a feather flock together kind of situation. All Punjabis or all Tamilians or all Maharashtrians or all whatever, or all finance people or all operations people and so on. Make sure intentionally you have diversity in your friend circle. Intentionally, I would say. It's really important for your learning. Avoiding high expectations is simple. I think the more expectations you have from friends, I think the worse it is. Come into any relationship with friends without expectations, and you'll get continuous joy from every single relationship. Okay, let's come to emotions and emotional intelligence. It's a big subject these days. I think all of you know EQ more important than IQ and so on and so forth. So I just have a few important points to share in this. I would say the important pillars in this are, the first is of course self-esteem. The second is resilience, how you're able to withstand tough times. And in self-esteem, neither arrogant and nor meek, so self-esteem is self-esteem. The third is on relationships. How do you go about them, how you have them. And finally, also beyond work, you need to see where you are, and you have hobbies, activities, and so on. All these help in your emotional intelligence. But some specific points are, how you handle negative emotions. So for me, negative emotions are a part of life. You can't do much, they will happen. I look at them in two ways. One, remove the cause, and second, understand the effect. So in removing the cause, I say, when you have a negative emotion, face it, write it down, reflect about it, think why it's happened. And often it's something that we are trying to run away from, which is causing that negative emotion. We're not wanting to face that issue. So writing it down for me is very helpful. That's on the cause side. On the effect side, the way I handle it is, I ask myself, so what, multiple times. Okay, let's say I'll fail in this exam. I'm going to sit for an exam. So there's a tension. So if I fail, okay, what happens? Then I can give it again. Okay, if you fail again, then what happens? So if you ask yourself 4 or 5 times, so what? You'll get an answer that, okay, I can live with that situation. For me, these are the two ways one can handle negative emotions. If it resonates with you, I'll be happy. Very often you may have people whom you find difficult to handle. So my suggestion is, you should always have a proactive approach to handling such people, rather than entering into the dialogue or interaction with them blind. Think about it and then take the next step. And the next one, especially for Indians and especially in the global level, is very important. Be more assertive. So I'm not saying be rude, but I'm not saying be meek either. So be more assertive, which means assert your rights. I'm not saying be offensive, but assert your rights. A simple example is, if you go to a restaurant and you get served with shoddy food, you can say, hey, call the manager, you don't know who I am, and thump your table, and in the process spoil the mood of everyone on your table and your own, and increase your blood pressure. Or you could say, this is what happens, what can we do, I'm in a different country, we have to gulp it, and so on and so forth. So assertive approach would be that you call the steward or the captain or whatever and say, look, this dish is not good, I need it to be changed. So you're not losing your temper, but you're insisting and asserting your right. You have paid for it, you must get it without being so disagree without being disagreeable when required, and also includes saying no without feeling guilty. So I hope some of these things help you in understanding the emotional part. And finally, in the today's world, there's no time for love and intimate emotion. So it's important as part of EQ that you are prepared to and you express love and intimate emotions. Otherwise, as human beings, that part of us is incomplete. Let me come to health and wellness. I'm not a great expert on it, so I just have one slide to say, do the things that you can do best, whether it's periodic checkups, ensuring a balance of food, and as age grows, ensuring strength, stamina, flexibility, and balance is what you are getting. And finally, rest is equal to recovery. So very simple things, but as I said, there are many, many experts, and I'm sure you know it best, but this is what I would say very simply. The financial perspective is something which, again, I'm sure all of us, do very well on all that, but I have a few rules on this. The first is live below your means. If you can afford to spend ₹1 lakh a month, spend 50,000. So living below your means, I believe, is really something which is important. The second is, again, very simple. Separate your investments from your retirement fund. Make sure you don't affect the retirement fund while you're playing the stock market or doing whatever else you want to do. And diversify investment taxability wise, because tax rules can keep on changing. What was non-taxable 30 years back is taxable today, and something which is, again, today taxable may not be taxable 10, 20 years later. So this is diversifying investment. And finally, if your retirement is just ahead or whatever, build at least 2 or 3 streams of income so that you're not dependent on just one. It may be rent, it may be interest, it may be some part-time work that you do or whatever. So look at building a few streams of income. Okay, I come to the last one, spirituality. And, I want to say what it is not and what it is. What it is not is certainly it's not to be mixed with religion. You go to the temple every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or you do your namaz 5 times a day. All that is up to you. But that's for me not spirituality. Spirituality is basically building a connection with oneself, reflection, like I said earlier, self-reflection, getting to know your purpose, connecting with that, evolving regularly, and so on. But 3 specific points I want to share here. One is the harmony of mind, body, and spirit, which includes, having a fit mind, a fit body, and also, as I said, connection with yourself, which comes when you reflect and you see and understand yourself, your own pattern of thoughts, your own pattern of actions, what you're doing, what you should be doing, and so on. So the first point is harmony of these 3. The second is, give until it hurts. Now for Rotarians, it's kind of, we know that we do it, but I would still say the joy that you can get from a BMW 7 Series versus feeding 100 hungry children or giving them notebooks in school when they don't have it, the 2 joys are completely different and cannot be compared. The joy that you can get for doing something when you give is many, many times higher than any other joy that you may have, a bigger house, a bungalow, a car, a foreign holiday, whatever. All that after a time starts losing its meaning. So giving is the only thing which gives meaning, and it gives infinite meaning, I would say. And the third part is we should live in harmony with nature. God has given us, or superpower, whatever you want to call it, air, water, the flora and fauna, the beautiful things that, we have got, not created by us. If we can't destroy them, if we can't maintain them, let's at least not destroy them. And of course, if we can do something to maintain them, so much the better. So this is the part of spirituality. And with that, I'm done. from my side with the presentation. Again, please have a look at where you are today and rate yourself and act. So President, from my side, I've finished for the moment and ready for any comments, questions, and observations.
So great. So friends, anything that you would like to understand?
Yeah, let me kick it off, Raman.
Yes.
But I posted it on the chat also. But I'm saying that, I mean, you mentioned the Gemba and etc. But I mean, my own experience has been, and I want you to comment on that, that we do a lot of time wasting activity, because we don't cut out stuff that is irritating us. At the same time, we feel somewhat obliged. So at least in the last 3 years, I've figured that, anything that doesn't make sense to me, surgically cut it as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
That's why I said it's like Toyota production system. We all have heard of just in time, but just in time emerges from a philosophy called eliminate waste. And the minute you're able to eliminate waste or wasteful activity, I found it tremendously productive. Just wanted your view on that.
So I'll tell you two things, Ganesh. One is that the Japanese have the word called muda, which is for waste.
Correct.
So you get rid of muda in your mind, those thoughts which are useless, or your feelings, or cleaning your computer, cleaning your office table. So everywhere muda. And the second is 5S, which are linked. And in fact, now it's a big industry with that, Marie Kondo of Japan and US, making it really a very big business and a very successful business. So completely agree with you, this elimination of waste. And that's what comes when we reflect. When we reflect and we see, hey, why do I need, 200 t-shirts? Do I need 100, handbags? Do I need 50 shoes or sandals, So for me, all these are absolutely interconnected. Great point, Ganesh. Thank you.
Which is why even my second point I posted saying, when you feel negative about something or a situation, best is to change that emotion, because negativity only affects you. And I mean, there is always something in everybody to like. I have not met a single human being in this world, including some politicians whom will not name. But there is something good about them also. So why waste time being negative? That's what I thought.
You are, Ganesh, I agree with you, but that's an idealistic situation. I mean, this question has been asked by me, of me, at least 50 times. How to stop, the negative thoughts from coming into the mind. So that's why I covered it in the presentation itself, that look at the cause and look at the effect. Those are two ways. But if you can avoid them from coming, as you rightly said, so that's a state you have to reach, that you have built a mental muscle so strong that before that thought comes in, you squash it, So you're telling about that situation. But the fact is, as they say, we get 6,200 thoughts a day. So, will not even one be negative? Tough. You have to reach that Zen master stage, which I'm sure it's possible. But I have been asked this question many times. So that's why I thought I covered it in the presentation itself.
Raman, I have a question.
Yeah.
You are proficient in a certain, like for me, travel is passion. But when you think of other profession, whenever I see sometimes, Niru is doing pranayam. I want to do pranayam. So I'm also doing pranayam. But how to choose? Is there any method in it? Method in that chaos? Kind of, what exactly you want and how to excel in that particular, which is not your area. Is there anything you teach or something? I don't know whether I'm asking stupid question.
No. Your question is very valid. Very valid, Gilam, your question. And how I would answer it is that when I said, try to figure out your why. Okay. And that's a very tough thing to do. Because if you are able to figure out your why, and for example, I can share with all of you my why if anyone has any interest. But if you are able to figure that out, Jalam, then the priority that you have to give to different activities becomes easy to decide. So, for example, if you write in that, health is important, business is important. Now you have to, often there'll be trade-offs. It's not easy. It's not so easy that, in 1 or 2 minutes you'll have an answer. There will be trade-offs all the time. If I work 4 hours more on a Saturday, instead of spending time with the family, I will earn 5 lakhs more every month. But then you can say, okay, is that 5 lakhs more important to me, or is that 4 hours with my family more important? But I can tell you one thing. The more you are able to bring discipline and build boundaries around work or anything else, you will find that the rest of the world accepts those boundaries and work goes on as before. So I hope you get some hint in this, that if you, for example, decide pranayam is important for me, I can guarantee you'll find time for that. Sorry.
Yes. I'll work on that. Why? Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and it's a very fascinating and very difficult and very important. It's just something that we don't get down to doing it. But once you do it, you are 50% sorted. And you're able to take decisions that, hey, how am I going to spend my weekends? How am I going to spend my money? How am I going to engage with people? Because you got now a rough template in your mind of your priorities, and that is really important. Otherwise, we are like getting tossed around. Acha, ye bhi kar lo, wo bhi kar lo. Let me do keto also, and let me do pranayam also, and let me walk in the morning. Let me join Ganesh for golf, and let me do whatever. So you have to figure out your why first. That helps, I believe.
So
Thank you.
if I say that self-introspection and doing your own SWOT analysis, that's going to help you, right? But whether I'll be doing it in a right way, what mechanism you will suggest?
What do you mean right way?
Am I going on the right? I'll say that, okay, anger is not only my weakness, it's my strength also. How do I put it?
So it's like this, Rakesh, that what is, wisdom is the using the right thing at the right time. Okay. Sometimes you have to use anger. It's very effective. But of course, if you are, always consumed by anger, you will be a different person and, having 200 BP. So therefore, you have to be in control. Your mind has to be in control. Main abhi ye kyun kar raha hu? You have to decide that, rather than your habit deciding this is what I am. Does it make sense, Rakesh?
Yeah, that's fine. What you are saying is fine. But my only thing is that whether
Go ahead.
something.
Your only thing is?
What I'm saying is that if I was so efficient to gauge myself, then I would be in ideal state.
So I'm happy to help with you. So I'm sharing my why here. So this is my why: to inspire and empower others to do what inspires them by teaching, sharing and coaching, and to also connect them, like I do my reunions for my class, physically, emotionally, so that together each one of us can change the world for the better. I mean, achieve our dreams or get clarity on our why. Maintain good health, take care of financials, blah, blah, blah. So avoid energy sapping relationships with, continuously negative people, or have a strategy for them, where I can't help it. So this is my why. So again, there's no need to, copy it. Each of us is unique, but I'm just saying that it took me a few years to, make this. It took me a few years to make it. So I'm happy to sit with you, Rakesh, for any, you can bounce off. See, doing it alone is very difficult because...
No. See, these are the situations that I have tackled during my past assignments. So, and these were the things that came when we were counseling our own people, our team members. And this was the major question which was being asked by them, that if I am capable enough to identify my weaknesses, then there is no problem at all. I don't need any support or anything. But how to get the support? Is there any mechanism? Do I have any tool to do it? So these were the questions which need to be answered.
No. But here, hang on, Rakesh. I mentioned very clearly, take feedback. Take feedback. You know, your colleague or yourself, you are being observed by 10, 15 people all the time. They are seeing you. If you are able to get genuine feedback for them, which is almost next to impossible, unless you have a third party doing it, because people feel shy and then a third party can anonymize it. For example, when I do coaching for anyone, I start with a 360 degree for that person. I ask him to give him or her to give me 10 of the people who know him best. And I talk to them and then I anonymize the feedback and present it to that person. Most of the times there's a shock because it's quite different from what you thought you were. And the world is perceiving you very differently. For example, let me tell about myself. I was in Murugappa group. So we had a workshop. I'm talking of 1995. And, and we were asked to make, what we think of ourselves on some parameters. So I called myself an introvert. Okay. And on a 0 to 10 scale, 10 being extrovert, 0 being introvert, I said I'm 1 or 2, And there were 25 of my colleagues there. They all had rated me at 7 and 8, I said, oh, I think I'm an introvert. The whole world is thinking I'm an extrovert. So for me, it was a revelation. Similarly, for your team members or for yourself, it can be a revelation when you talk to the outside world. Then I rewired myself. Okay, I think I have some strength, which people are seeing, which I had not seen till that moment, honestly. I was very clear I'm an introvert. I don't feel like talking. I'm with the last person in the room to talk and so on. But people are saying I'm an extrovert. So are you with me? So some of observations very much. From others, the mirrors which people hold to you will help you to see yourself much better and clearer is what I'm trying to say, Rakesh.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Have I answered your question?
Can I take off from your last answer and ask a question?
Yes, Bharat.
Are you holding introvert and extrovert in two different scales as a strength and weakness? Can it not be an individual trait which applies or a choice one makes in my why?
Yeah.
Because you just made extrovert a strength and introvert a weakness.
No. I decided to use my being an extrovert as perceived by others as my strength to use in my day-to-day life. No,
you mentioned, I realized I have some strengths.
Yeah.
So is extrovert a strength and introvert a weakness according to you?
No. You can't generalize. You can't generalize.
I thought I'll get a clarity in your words.
No. It's not a generalization. But there are many, let me tell you one thing.
Yeah.
In corporate world, as per multiple surveys done, extroverts allegedly fare much better than introverts, allegedly. But I'm saying this is as per many surveys done. So I was in corporate world. I said, hey, what the hell, yaar? मैं सोचता हूँ मैं तो बहुत एकदम चुपचाप introvert हूँ. But people are thinking I'm an extrovert. Let me use that strength wherever I can. Why not?
Yeah. Raman, if you permit me to jump in for a minute, I've now decided over a long period of time that I'm a selective introvert, which means that I like to be by myself.
Yeah.
As Neeruji will testify, I do not go to any society parties in Pune, but meeting people 1-to-1 or 2-to-2 is what gives me joy.
Sure.
But I can pose to be an extrovert in a corporate situation. Now, I don't know whether that is being fake or what it is. I have no idea.
No. I think, no, Ganesh. I think that is using our strength where we want to use it now. That's fine. I think we don't need to make everything as a habit. That मैं तो यही हूँ. As I said, in the beliefs, मैं तो extrovert ही हूँ. या मैं तो introvert ही हूँ. No. You have that capability to be an extrovert where it's required and you want to use it. Why not?
You don't have to sing that song, मैं ऐसा क्यों हूँ.
I was about to break into that. Neeru, no question from you today. Why? You're muted.
Neeru Gambhir.
I am really amazed whatever topics you have taken and the solutions you have given. Really nice. I really enjoyed all of them. And I'm happy that many things I knew, like Gemba, I have done 20 years in my factory and Japanese way of manufacturing. And that itself takes you to spiritualism. I mean, that is spirituality which you want, that makes you thoughtful. And you said it right.
Right,
I agree.
Actually, I would suggest to take what Neeru is saying. I think at some point, Raman, I'll ping you. So 3-4 months down the line, maybe we should just do like a 3-hour workshop. We can get whoever is interested in this group and literally do a sharing, because all of us have evolved in our lives. And I know, having been with this group for the last 3 years, this is a fantastic group. But I'm sure all of us have different life journeys, emotional journeys, thinking journeys. It'll be amazing. And I'm not saying everybody has to share, but even if 10 people share, I think we will all learn from that wisdom.
No, each of these dimensions.
Great
Ganesh,
idea, Ganesh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And we will ensure that Raman kind of curates it.
I'll be at your service, Ganesh. It's a pleasure to work with you and with everyone else. But I'm saying each of these small subjects itself, is can be a big discussion, like health, for example, and so on. So 3 hours will pass like this. So
we'll do it one nice Saturday morning, and Kiran will buy us all lunch. Great idea.
Kiran didn't say yes, and she's
mute by design.
Mute by choice. No, I think it's a really wonderful session, Raman.
I'll buy the lunch. Don't worry.
Let's do it. Okay. I think it's a beautiful session, Raman. I was actually just thinking that, the point that you made about perception, like we have a perception of ourselves, and the way people perceive us is completely different. And that's something actually I have discovered very recently. So I think that it's a beautiful thing, because you don't realize your own potential till you actually, and maybe it's also encouraging in a way. So that's a very valid point. Okay.
I can tell you 90% of the people anywhere in any room have not taken feedback for any amount of time. Okay.
True.
So,
that's right.
So just that simple process of finding an effective way, the very simple format. I have a simple format: do's, don'ts, and continues, or stop, start, and continue, whatever you want to call it. Just on these 3 aspects, you find 5, 6, 8, 10 people who are observing you to tell you what you should do. I can tell you, you will transform by this 1 or 2 hour exercise. You will transform. So feedback, as you rightly said, Kiran, is very, very effective. Very effective.
It is.
Feedback and collective IQ. These are my strong takeaways from today, Raman. Excellent. Thank you.
I think most of the time we miss on the balancing part of it. We tend to incline and be excessive to manage one of the areas, one of the spheres, and we lose sight on the other spheres. Like say, sometimes we are career oriented, sometimes we are health oriented, sometimes we are only family oriented, and that is how we miss the balancing part of the totality of the life.
Yes, sir. Very right.
And sometimes we are more going on the spiritual side only and lose the other side. So it's all what you have prescribed is that there should be a balancing of everything, and thereby we are having a complete life.
Yes, rich and a meaningful life. Rich not in money terms necessarily, but rich in terms of the possibilities and potentialities of life.
So thank you for elaborating on that in a nice way.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the feedback, sir.
So now I'll request Bharat Bhai to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Hi, Raman. Nice for me to, this onus is on me. I just start by saying you started your talk by using the word till 2019. I was chasing shadows, traveling here, there, and there. And then within the same breath, you use the word maar kha kisi ka. You also use the word instantly in the same breath about feedback, which you kept repeating. It's wonderful because you boiled down your learnings into simplicity. Yesterday we had budget ki pathshala. Today we had life ki pathshala from you. And in simplicity, you actually boiled it down to 5 perspectives. One is perspectives. Second is principles, intent, the action. And you kept coming back to one word repeatedly. It's relationship, relationships. But the corporate professional in you couldn't stop using the word achievement orientation all the time. So that is the corporate person in the Guruji ki Pathshala which kept coming out. So these are my observations, and it's been great having you. It is often said that the words we use in any discussion reflect what is uppermost in our minds. I must point out that the words you use repeatedly are family time, relationships, blood pressure and health, and feedback. These are actually great takeaways for all of us. I mean, it came out unconsciously. That was you in you coming out. But this is great as a life ki pathshala for all of us. Thank you very much for your time.